Coach Kayla Karius. Coach, how are you doing today?
It's fantastic. I just got here, just got started. This is great.
This is your first stop?
It's my first stop.
Wow.
I know.
High expectations.
Yeah, couldn't spend it with better people. So thanks for being here. This is great exposure for our league and so fun to get all the coaches in one place and even for the players to join us too. So this is a great event.
Coach, just want a quick preview of what fans should be expecting this season from the Oats.
Well, our team looks a lot different than we did last year. You know, we're a little bit more healthy and we're certainly deeper at a lot more positions. So it was a fun way to get started last year. We felt like we could play an up-tempo style and push the ball a little bit more, especially when you have the ball in the hands of one of the fastest players in the league. And that was a really fun style to play. Push the pace and shoot a lot of threes and then defend. And I think as the season went on, we had a few challenges in front of us, a lot of injuries and adversity that we had to just sort of change our style. You just have to figure out what makes it work. And so it's really fun this off season now to get back to like, this is the style we want to play. And now that we have more depth, be able to do that. We're all a year older, year wiser, I think, as players got that experience last year that certainly some of the young ones had never had before. It was pretty eye-opening at times. And it didn't always translate to wins, but it certainly gave us the experience that we need now to just be another year older and have that experience behind us, I think is going to bode really well.
You have a lot of preseason recognition, whether it be in the polls or the players you have on this team. How do you guys manage those expectations? How much do you pay attention to it? And just what's it mean to be recognized within this league of so much talent?
Yeah, it's a great question. And we were talking about this actually on the drive up here when I was with Grace Larkins, who was picked first team all-league and certainly had a ton of attention around her last year and a lot of recognition, which is so deserved. And at the same time, I think it's one of those things where you're thankful for the respect that you get from your opponents, from your peers, and you take that and then you also just go back to work and you try to what really matters is focusing on the end of the season and making sure that you're getting better every single day. So I think it's something that we are thankful for, and we look around and say, okay, this is where people think that we are, but we're the ones who are really with each other every single day. And so not paying too much attention to it in that way too.
Coach, a year ago, you were one of 3 first-year head coaches, not only in the Summit League, but for your career in that first season. It's hard. We talked about this spring when you were on our podcast, my podcast. It's different when you're in the assistant chair and you move like 6 inches over to the buck stops with you. So as you look at this season 2, and now that you've gotten your kids back in the gym and you spent that time together, what are some of the things you take from that year 1 to year 2 and say, hey, this is where we've got to be better, I've got to make a change, or that this is the direction we need to go? Yeah,
well, I spoke a lot about the players getting that experience. That came along with me too. And you're right, you 6 inches doesn't seem like a lot. You actually have a much better view because you can stand up and squat, and you have a little more freedom that way if we're going to be specific. But really enjoyed it. I just have really felt like this has been my calling for a long time. But you certainly probably aren't prepared for everything that's coming your way. You may think that but until everything starts happening, sometimes you're just moving at 100 miles an hour, and it's almost like you're sprinting a marathon the entire season. So it's not until when the season ends you finally get a chance to regroup and look back and say, okay, what do we need to work on here? And like you said, what things can we improve? So as a team and as a system wise, we definitely felt like we needed to improve our defense overall. We felt like we were scoring enough points to win games, but overall just not getting the stops that we needed. And certainly not having the depth and not having the amount of players and quality of players, I think, hurt us at times. But we're going to be able to improve that. We spent a ton of time this summer. I'm sure not every kid's favorite thing in the summertime is working on defense, but here we are. And if you want to get better and become an elite team, that's where we need the most work. And so just taking pride in that, this program has taken a lot of pride in that, and winning those 3 conference tournaments in a row and getting the NCAA tournaments because of defense. They were the best defensive team in the league, and they really, really stress that. We need to get back to that. That's the team from this league that is going to defend the best, is going to have the best chance to get to the NCAA tournament.
We've got Grace Larkins here. She's going to be up here in just a little bit. As you said, a first-team all-conference selection in the preseason. But you've also got a sophomore in Carly Dunphy, and she is a second-team all-conference player. What about her game did you see as a freshman, and where can she be better at that forward? She averaged almost 12 points a game for you a year ago.
She was a great addition conversation for us to have. And it's one of those things. She redshirted her freshman year, so last year started out the season about the same way, trying to just find out where she would fit, and then it just clicked. And it's really fun when that happens, because we certainly had a lot of attention on Grace, right?
Yeah.
And how we need another scorer. We need somebody else to be able to spot up, because when she gets double or triple team, she needs somebody to kick it to, or somebody to be able to finish. And it was really cool to see that click for Carly about halfway through the year, and then in conference play she really just took off. And I call her the matchup nightmare. I just think she's so athletic, but also with her size and her skill set, I think teams had a hard time matching up with her. We played smaller sometimes and put her at the 5, and that was really hard for people when we spread the floor. But I think for her to continue to take steps defensively, I think she's a capable player of guarding multiple positions. That would be huge for us, because that gives us the versatility in our lineup to slide her to one spot or another. But I am excited about her. I think with Grace's leadership and with Carly's now experience going into her redshirt sophomore year, I think it could be a great year for both of them.
It's not easy in the Summit, as you know. I mean, it's a grind. So you got to get this team ready, and you got to think about it. So the non-con is not easy.
No.
You are going to go to Creighton November 10th, and then you get to at least go to the Sunshine. So you're going to the Bahamas. You're going to get DePaul. You're going to get the Michigan State or Middle Tennessee. You've got another one after that. You got UNI at home at the end of November. That's a gauntlet.
Sounds like fun.
It sounds like a blast.
What are you talking about? Yeah.
So how do you get this group ready to go in November and take these challenges on head on?
Yeah, well, it's like you said, we faced 4 teams that finished last year in the net 62 or better, and so that's tough. And that's not to mention we're in our final game at the Bahamas. We could probably face another one too.
Yes.
So great field there. So honored to be a part of that. I think what that means is we're going to get battle tested, and we're going to get tested early. And so it's like you said, getting those combinations right. We're moving faster through things this year than we did last year as we move into the season and games. And I think that's going to bode well for us, because we certainly have to be ready to go. And it's great challenges for us. And it's one of those things, you're trying to test your team. You're trying to give yourselves a chance, especially on a neutral floor at Battle for Atlantis. I think it's a phenomenal event, and you're giving yourselves a chance to be on the floor with those teams and to come away with a win, and certainly believing that you can do that. And then we've got, like you said, Creighton on the road, and Northern Iowa comes to us, and along with a couple others sprinkled in between, because you want to have this balance of not only getting challenged, but building some confidence and getting things rolling so you feel really good going into conference play. But I certainly think we have a lot of tests in front of us, and we'll find out what we're made of.
Early.
You're right.
Early.
Hearing from a lot of coaches today, it feels like the offensive plan is speed. And you guys talk about defense. Is that something you guys are getting prepared for in that non-con and in the league to be ready to defend a really quick offense?
Yeah, no question. I think we're facing some really, really good offenses. Certainly Creighton is one of those who's willing to play really fast and shoot really early and play that 5-out style. I think that's going to be good for us. But facing the athletes that we're going to face at the Battle for Atlantis will be a great, great test for us to be able to work on what we have. We'll see how good that summer off season went defending and mixing in maybe even some different defenses and really trying to figure out a way to get stops. So I think all of that, it'll be a great test for us. I think we're going to see a lot of different styles, and I think that always bodes well for you when you get to conference play. So you're not surprised by anything. You're just ready to roll.
And on the other side of the ball, what is that style for South Dakota this year when the ball's in your guys' hands?
On the offensive end, you're saying? Yeah, we would like to get back to playing that up-tempo style and really trying to push in transition. We had a lot of fun playing that way. Again, when you have a point guard like Grace Larkins, that you can have the ball in her hands and be able to push. We added a transfer out of the portal this last year, Kendall Holmes from DePaul. Clearly another player who's used to be playing fast, and ironically enough, we're going to face DePaul in the first game of the Battle for Atlantis. She's excited, so it's good. I can imagine. So just that up-tempo style is so natural for them. And then there's some other things I think that we're going to just change. I never really, you talk about your style, and as a second-year head coach, you're still developing that. And also, it's not just what I want. It's really what fits with our players. And so there's certain aspects that I didn't really think were my style. And as you go through it, you're like, well, we've got players who are really good at that specific thing. Let's see if we can add that in. And then when they go ahead and connect on certain things, you're like, well, that's becoming my style now. So
you look like a genius.
You're like, yes. It really, it's what fits them, right? You can have your own mold, but you've got to figure out what fits your team. So it's going to be a little bit of a different look this year, but we're really excited about it.
Coach, I want to ask about last season, too, an early exit here in Sioux Falls. Does that serve as motivation for this team?
No question. Yeah, we had 2 players last year on this floor who played in that game who had ever played in this tournament before. So you've got 7 who didn't out of the 9 we had available. It's a lot of wide eyes. And I agree, we're not that far from home playing in this venue, but it is different. It's different when you walk in here and it's a bigger environment. Certainly we drew a great crowd, which we're so thankful for, but even just the amount of people, it's a big moment. It's a big stage, and we're so grateful for what an awesome experience the Summit League tournament is at the Premier Center. It's so fantastic, but you can't really replicate that in your own gym. Right. And so for those players to get that experience on the floor, even though it didn't go the way that we wanted it to, certainly anybody who watched the game knows in the first half we were rattled and we were being forced to play much faster than we were comfortable with. And then we settled down a little bit more in the second half and cut it to a 1-point game, and then just didn't feel like we had the horses to go ahead and finish that out, and made some mistakes down the way. Plus, give Oral Roberts credit, they shot the ball better than they had in a long time. And so I think the combination of that, we didn't come out on the right end of that, but the experience part of it, it's going to help us going forward.
No doubt.
Well, Coach, absolutely. Thank you so much for the time.
Thank you.
We really appreciate it. Best of luck to you and the Yotes. And
thank you.
Let me actually end on this question, because I've asked every coach. I think it's unfair if I don't ask. But
yeah, I was going to say, you got to give it to him.
What does success look like to you this year?
What does success look like? That's a great question. We don't, like I said before with the preseason rankings, I think it's not a matter of, well, we fell short from what everyone else thought that we were. I really think the true success is going to be, did we get better every single day? And that's something we just always try to stress. Certainly last year we were trying to stress that, because it's a program that's so used to winning, and if coming off of a great Sweet 16 run in 2022. And so how do you carry forward with that? And you can't always get caught up in the win or the loss. We all want to win. Okay. We're all competitors, and that's fantastic. We're going to compete in practice. We're going to get a lot better, but success is Carly Duffney figuring it out in the middle of the year and then coming on really strong, right? That's Grace Larkins being able to handle 4 defenders usually focusing on her and still finding a way to kick it out or finding a way to score. And that's just continuing to improve, continuing to learn about the game. And these young women, I just think they're such a great group. But at the end of the day, basketball is really fun. They've got to be great people too. So we're spending a lot of time, and we did in the off season too, developing them as leaders and developing them as well-rounded people. That's actually the real success.
Awesome.
Well, Coach, now that you've answered it, we'll let you go. We really appreciate your time. Best of luck this season.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for your time. It's great to be here.
Yeah, guys.